Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where after the success of our most overpaid players 11 from September 2018, we've decided to give you an updated rundown for the 1920 season. Let's get started. 10. Jerome Boateng. Jerome Boateng has not had a poor season by any means, with injuries limiting Niklas Süle and Lucas Hernandez to just over 1,500 league minutes between them. 31-year-old Boateng has appeared in 58% of Bayern's league games at the time of writing. And whilst he's been far from foolproof, completing just 64% of his tackles and getting dribbled past once every 139 minutes, down from his peak of once every 169 minutes 6 years ago, his partnership with David Alaba has still been good enough to take Bayern to an 8th consecutive title with the division's best defence. But despite his perfectly acceptable performances, there's little doubt that the 76-capped German international is still overpaid. Rumoured to be earning £205,000 per week, fourth in Bayern's squad behind Lewandowski, Neuer and Müller, there's little surprise that Die Roten's hierarchy have been trying to offload the World Cup winner for nearly 2 years. With both Kicker and Bild reporting that Boateng is set to be sold alongside Javi Martinez this summer before his bumper contract expires in 2021, the Bayern faithful should enjoy watching the 6'4" centre-backs cultured long balls while they still can. 9. Morgan Schneiderlin. With Lucas Biglia on a reported £130,000 per week and Chelsea's Danny Drinkwater also earning six figures, we were spoilt for choice for our next selection, but we plumped for Nice's Morgan Schneiderlin. Signed by Everton for £24 million from Manchester United back in January 2017, Morgan Schneiderlin struggled to impose himself at Goodison Park, playing just over 1,800 league minutes since the start of 18-19. Signed by Ronald Koeman, Schneiderlin played under 4 different managers during his time on Merseyside. But even long-term injuries to André Gomes and Jean-Philippe Baman this term didn't turn around his fortunes, with 15 players playing more than his 1,004 league minutes. Unsurprisingly, for a club that have spent a net £457 million since the start of 16-17, more than Spurs, Arsenal and Liverpool in that time, some of Everton's players' wages are incredibly poorly allocated. With Schneiderlin on £100,000 a week during his time with the Toffees, 5th in the squad, it was little surprise Ancelotti decided to offload him this week to southern France. Either way, he was without doubt one of the most overpaid players of 2019-20. Before we move on to our next section, just a quick reminder to subscribe to Football Daily and hit that notification bell to never miss one of our top 10s. 8. Andre Gray. 28-year-old Andre Gray has done well to carve out a pretty solid Premier League career for himself. Having started out in the lower leagues, Gray was playing in the conference with Luton Town as recently as June 2014, when a move to Brentford saw his career take off. 18 goals in 50 games earned him a £6 million move to Burnley, who he helped fire to the Premier League in 15-16 with a championship best 23 goals. But since joining Watford for a then club record £18.4 million in August 2017, Gray has struggled to rekindle that form with just 14 goals in 80 Premier League games for the Hornets. With Dini, Doucouré and Deulofeu all managing more goals than him in that time, it's hard to argue that the 5'10" frontman is justifying his £70,000 per week wages. Not only is that level with Doucouré at the top of the Watford payroll, but it's also more than double the salaries of Ben Foster, Will Hughes and Craig Cathcart, all of whom have made a much bigger contribution to Watford's season. With just 1 Premier League goal since the end of August and just 3 league appearances in 2020, Andre Gray is very much fighting for his overinflated salary in the next few weeks. 7. Thomas Delaney. It's been far from a perfect season for Thomas Delaney. Signed from Werder Bremen for €20 million in June 2018, Delaney made 30 Bundesliga appearances in his debut campaign, with only 5 players topping his 2,290 league minutes. But this year, it's been a different story. The arrivals of Julian Brandt and Thorgan Hazard last summer, followed by Emre Can in January, has left Lucien Favre with a plethora of options in midfield and attack, and Delaney has paid the price. A succession of ankle and knee injuries saw the 43-cap Dane miss 18 games, and since he returned, he's been 4th choice behind Witsel, Jian and a resurgent Dahoud. The issue for Favre is that at 28 and currently on €115,000 per week, 5th in the Dortmund squad, Delaney is not going to be happy with a bit part role. A competent but unspectacular performer, Delaney is a useful squad player, but with the current financial situation, the BVB hierarchy may decide his wages, which are more than double those of Thorgan Hazard's, are worth getting rid of this summer. 6. Tanguy Ndombele. A supremely talented footballer when fully fit, Tanguy Ndombele's 96 appearances for Lyon across 17-18 and 18-19 showed him to be one of the most exciting emerging midfielders in Europe. Spurs struck first last summer, signing the former Amiens man for a club record £53.8 million, handing him a 6-year contract worth £200,000 per week. That not only makes him the best paid player at Spurs, level with England captain Harry Kane, but the 9th highest earner in the division. Has he justified his fee so far? No, not really. 2 separate injuries have seen him miss 7 games thus far, and when he has played, he hasn't looked fully fit, with his lack of mobility seeing his passes per game dropping from 58 a match in 18-19 to 30 this term. He still looks like an excellent ball progressor, however, with only one midfielder in Europe, Chelsea's Kovacic, topping his 3.6 completed take-ons per 90. As if that wasn't enough, only Winks and Lo Celso can top his 5.7 progressive passes per 90 in the lily-white squad. If Jose Mourinho can start working with Ndombele rather than against him, he might just start justifying his wages. 5. James Rodriguez. There are a fair few Real Madrid players who could have made this list, with bit part players like Luka Jovic, Isco and Gareth Bale, who have made 26 La Liga starts this season between them on a combined 640 grand per week. We were spoilt for choice. We went for James Rodriguez, who in terms of cost effectiveness is surely the worst of the lot. The 76 capped Colombian still has 1 year remaining on his 200 grand a week salary, which puts him as the 5th highest earner in the squad, behind Hazard, Bale, Ramos and Kroos. That means that James has already cost the club £8.7 million in wages this season alone. And what have they had in return? Absolutely nothing. A succession of injuries has meant that the 2014 World Cup star has just 419 La Liga minutes to his name. With 1 league appearance since mid-October, James has cost the club £20,763 per minute of league action this campaign. Zinedine Zidane will surely try anything to get rid of the former Monaco man this summer. 4. David De Gea. Now we all know that David De Gea has experienced something of a dip in form over the last couple of years. A stellar 17-18 campaign in which his heroics saw United concede 15.5 fewer goals than expected goals predicted, helping them to second, was followed by a shaky World Cup from which he has never truly recovered. While he can still produce exceptional saves, De Gea's base level of consistency has dropped considerably, with his latest blunder coming just last week when he palmed Steven Bergwijn's shot into his own net. In fact, since the start of the 18-19 season, no player has made more errors leading to goals than the Spaniard's 7. It wouldn't be good enough for an emerging keeper learning his trade, let alone a keeper with 514 appearances and 11 years of top-level experience under his belt. What makes it even worse is the fact that the 41-capped international is earning a reported £375,000 per week, more than anyone else in the Premier League. If the 29-year-old doesn't raise his game considerably, there's every chance he could be replaced at club and international level before too long. 3. Aaron Ramsey. When Aaron Ramsey's Arsenal contract expired last summer, no one was quite sure what would happen. Yes, he was a proven Premier League performer who contributed 0.3 goals per league game across his 11-year spell in North London, but he had also only been fit enough to make 30 league appearances once in the previous 6 seasons. But that didn't deter the likes of Man United, Real Madrid, Bayern and Inter Milan, who were all keen to sign the Cardiff City Academy graduate. Unsurprisingly, he chose 35-time Italian champions Juventus, who the BBC claim offered him a £400,000 per week deal, making him the highest earning British player ever. It's safe to say it hasn't worked out. Signed under Allegri, by the time Ramsey arrived, Sarri was in charge, and he's only given him 11 starts in the league and Champions League since. Ramsey's numbers suggest he deserves more too. Not only did he play a starring role in Juve's crucial 2-0 victory over Inter, but he's averaging 2.3 shots and 1.9 key passes per 90, while his rate of 0.35 expected goals and assists per 90 ranks 4th in the squad. It might not be his fault, but for £20.8 million per season in wages, the Bianconeri faithful might be expecting more. 2. Diego Costa. Diego Costa's return to Atletico Madrid in September 2017, following a 3-year spell at Chelsea in which his 59 goals in 120 games helped the Blues to 3 trophies, has been far from a success. Years of scraping for every ball and antagonising everyone has taken its toll on his body, with 50 games missed with injury, almost an entire season over the last 3 campaigns. With such terrible luck, it's little surprise that his shots per 90 have fallen from 3.2 in his final campaign in England to just 1.9 this term, a figure topped by 57 players in Spain. Only fit enough to play just over 1,000 La Liga and Champions League minutes for a return of 3 goals in a year Simeone has desperately needed him, Costa's €300,000 per week wages, only topped by Oblak's, do not look like money well spent. 1. Max Meyer. You might have predicted a bigger name to be headlining this list, but there's no bigger waste of money in football than Crystal Palace's Max Meyer. Like Ramsey, signed on a free following a sticky end to his time at Schalke, the 4-cap German, once believed to be the next big thing, managed to negotiate wages of £125,000 per week. That's second only to Wilf Zaha in the Eagles squad, and is actually more than Laporte, Mahrez and Gabby Jesus are paid at Manchester City. The comparisons become even more ridiculous when you factor in that just 5 of Liverpool's all-conquering squad are paid more than the 24-year-old. And to say Maya hasn't justified his wages would be the understatement of the century. Previously used as both an attacking threat and defensive presence in Germany, Maya failed to establish himself in his 29 Premier League appearances in 18-19. He ranked 10th for tackles and interceptions, 7th for dribbles and 4th for key passes in a squad crying out for creativity. And this year it's been even worse, with Maya ranking 18th for minutes played and Hodgson preferring a combination of MacArthur, Kouyaté, Milivojevic and McCarthy in the middle of the park. Currently sidelined with an ankle injury, Max Meyer's expensive spell at Crystal Palace must come to an end this summer. So those were our 10 most overpaid players in the world, but who would you have included? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.